Hey everyone, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Pokemon Gold. This is turn 59. Let's jump into it. So, we've got a couple of different things. Go through, check everything out. We've researched level 7 on Thaumaturgy, which gets us some access to some interesting, unique Pokemon quests. Moving on to Thaumaturgy 8. Got some remote site searches, nothing with Haruspex. Got an Augury, Smolderstone. This is actually not in our territory, because I auguried pretty much the entirety of my own actual territory, so I'm just auguring wherever I can now. Nothing with Auspex, nothing with Dark Knowledge. We cast Dome of Arcane Warding. Nothing with Arcane Probing. Didn't find any Blood Slaves twice, and lost a crippled. So, into the battles. So we've got a little bit of an attack here. We're actually going to watch this. This is in Lost Canyon range where we were. And we're going to watch just so that we can kind of take a look at what's going on. We've got a Great Sword of Sharpness, another one, and then this third one is not. Though he does have a Lodestone. And then we have this. We have two schoolgirls, but we also have this Ampharos champion. And this thing's pretty interesting, right? It's got a nice health pool, really decent protection right out of the gate. It's not sacred, though, and it bears the curse of most of the other Pokemon champions, unlike the Steelixes, where it only has a head and 3 miscellaneous slots. But it's got a very interesting path set here. I'm assuming it comes at probably like a base of 2 air with some randoms. It causes, or it reduces unrest, and it actually is a gold maker. But so this is quick math. Could be wrong, but 15 gold a month at 12 months means that it makes 180 gold a year. So it actually pays for itself, right? And nets you 4 gold over the course of the entire year. But hey, it pays for itself. So that's actually like, this is actually really interesting in the concept of a mage, right? Who is, I think, it's a champion, so it's probably gonna be 2 turns of recruitment, basically. I think most champions are 2 turns of recruitment. So that's kind of a limiting factor. But having a bunch of these types of mages can be pretty interesting. Got a supply bonus, got a patrol bonus, got storm power, right? Got storm immunity, got overcharge. Kind of an interesting little combination of things, and not bad attacks. Nothing crazy or amazing, but this is an interesting unit. I could see if this is something he can only get at his capital, then it's probably not that great. But if this is something he can pick up in other locations, this would actually be pretty cool. So, there's nothing really to watch here. It's up against just PD. So it actually does Moss Body, Temper Flesh, Flying Shield. Oh, so this was in a concept of maybe these people, or maybe I'm still gonna be here, but I wasn't. So he brought these guys in and then retreated them. That's pretty interesting. Okay. Next up, we attacked in Violet City. But he actually still had a Steelix there, so we lost. We attacked in Spires of Ascension, and this is actually a really big battle. So we can see on it already, right? We won, and the losses were pretty sustainable. And he lost a lot. Like, this is oof. This is the kill squad too, by the way, right? So let's go and watch this. Let's see what happens. We've got this force. We've got Ishkur. We've got Tarbal, and then we've got, where's he at? Zinvol with his party of black belts and all their Machamps, right? We've also got actually in here. Oh, there he is. So we've also got Spiccato with his little flying brigade, and that's actually going to be pretty important. So, this whole scenario happens, right? What's what's very important is we have this, the horde of guitarists back here, and they get set upon immediately by these dual Charizards. Now, they're going to kill the dual Charizards, but I think the dual Charizards actually take out one or two of the guitarists, and they tie them up long enough for them to not be able to go through all of their casting, right? They have to, basically, they lose time. And the time that they're losing is very important because the Machamps are coming, right? So Machamps come in. I ran out of names Steelix champion with the Vine Shield is going to be a problem because he's ethereal, so the Machamps aren't going to be able to do anything against him, right? And now they're back here doing their thing, but like I said, the wave of Machamps is coming, and they're going to hit before any of these actually take off. Oh, and the black belts come in too, which the black belts got hit with a weapon of sharpness, so they're pretty good. Meanwhile, Tarball is facing off against I ran out of names. So, and the schoolgirl just got smacked in the middle of all that. You know? Also, in the meantime, Ishkur is slowly making his way out here. I don't know why Ishkur is actually so slow. He's got a combat... Oh, his armor encumbrance has him down. That seems odd. Encumbrance of 7. Very interesting. Basic combat speed, armor encumbrance -4. That's interesting. It's interesting and detrimental. We'll have to look into that. I might have to look up rules for how that gets calculated. But anyways, so Tarball's kicking the shit out of I ran out of names. The Machamps and Black Belts have swarmed the guitarists, who in fairness, are putting up a great fight, right? They kill many Machamps, and they kill several of my black belts. But my black belts are way more replaceable than these guitarists are. Good. That was a nice fight for us. So we lost 9 black belts, which does hurt. In this situation, I think the dual Charizards actually really helped out there. We ended up killing 6 of the 7 Olivine City guitarists, 2 schoolgirls, and a Steelix champion. This is probably the biggest loss that Olivine has taken from me in, I don't know, 20 turns. Probably since I killed the 2 Steelixes 50 years ago on Saffron City, right? With Chuck or whichever golem it was. So this is a pretty big deal. We also got a Great Sword of Sharpness, Ice Helmet, and Girdle of Might out of it, which are nice little items to pick up. We got attacked in Stornwood and lost. Got attacked in Kratos and bounced, basically. Who is this? Yeah. So this is Robior. And this just goes back to kind of like that concept of the Machampion just can't beat. It can't beat a Steelix. It can't beat a base Steelix. It can do some damage. A base, and I say base. This is a fully kitted out Machampion, right? Obviously he's not. I could put an arm on him and give him a Great Sword of Sharpness, and he'd kick the shit out of a fucking Steelix at that point. But that's a fucking big investment for a single Machampion that is very killable, right? So anyways, he does his thing, Temper Flesh, Iron Skin, Iron Will, and he's actually not strong enough to do like I do think a champion that has Earth 3, right? That natively has Earth 3 and we can Earth Power and give an Earth Gem to do Weapons of Sharpness, he can beat Steelixes. But Robior is not that. So Robior comes in and he starts swinging. And it's so like... It feels so like he might be able to do real damage, but he just can't. Maybe it's probably worse because this one is the... No, this is the one with Iron Will. Damn it, its protection is fucking obscene. Jesus. Alright, well, we know how this ends. Eventually, Robior just runs. So, no big deal. We attack in Knifel and win. We are attacked in Berman Highs and lose. We are attacked in Gnome Peaks and lose. And then we get hit with the Raging Hearts again. Unfortunately, I don't know where the calculation is, whether it's... whether my dome went up and this was just a 50% chance for it to go through, or if it went through before the dome went up, what have you, right? But this is the 4th Raging Hearts on our capital, which is really annoying. Hopefully either we will start blocking some with the dome, or he'll run out of fire gems. One or the other. We'll see how it goes. Lost Canyons have been breached. Dragon Scale Mountains unharmed. Cleared some afflictions. Patrolled some stuff down. Got some promotions. Okay, great. This is the map. We can see so much more now than we could quite a while ago. Or quite a while ago. Not, just like a few turns ago. We can see so much more than we could. Like 5-10 turns ago. Okay, so we've got a lot of stuff going on. I don't want this to take absolutely eternity, so we're just going to jump into things. In the Olivine City front, there's actually not too terribly much going on. We are continuing to do what we've been doing with our Battle Girls, or the ones that we still have in position. We are moving around with a couple of different units. Modic is attacking with some Alakazams. We're actually moving up Limerick with his little party into the Woods of Weeping. But most of the rest of our raiding has been put on hold because we've run out of flying units, right? That we're trying to build back up. Okay? So next, we've got... I'm going to actually do the Violet City front before I do the Saffron City front. So next, we've got the Violet City front. And so we just won here in Spires of Ascension. Right? We just kicked the crap out of them. But this army is pretty muted compared to what it was. I do still want to rejoin... I say rejoin. I do still want to probably take Yazar's army and put it together with Zinville's. I don't want to do that until I want to have a little cadre of schoolgirls, so we're just going to march this unit back to Three Pine Grove, and then when we get here, we'll trade hands, and we'll probably go back up this way, right? In the meantime, I'm actually bringing Simios up into Violet City, just in case he gets the bright idea that he wants to do a big fight here, and we'll see how it goes. So that's where we're coming. Spiccato, I'm actually moving over to Omicria, and I'm doing that because I'm actually bringing Zenario, Starwald, and Wosen with some Great Swords of Sharpness and Boots of Strength, and a Vision's Foe, and they're going to be a little goon squad that I potentially move around with. Because you got to keep in mind, not only are these guys going to have these weapons that they could potentially hack through a Steelix with, right? Which I should have put it together a goon squad like this 30 turns ago. Honestly, I absolutely should have. This should have been the route that I thought about it, right? And this should have been the route that I went for. I should have turned production on, because I can make 2 of these guys per turn. I should have turned production on here, 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 and here, and produced like 20 of these guys over the course, because that's 8 per turn. I could have done 24 in 2 turns, and with 5 hammers, because I think I had 5 hammers at that point, I could have produced great swords for all of them in 5 turns, right? And then I should have just had them fly around in little five-man groups, right? Doing what they needed to do. Because would some of them die? Abso-fucking-lutely. But would 5 of them jumping on a Steelix with a great sword of sharpness, especially, I mean, I'm not including the boots of giant strength, so just the great sword of sharpness actually count. He did 35 damage, basically, I think is what it would be at. Which is pretty hefty, right? That's a pretty big deal. Because here's the other thing, right? They also should be decent at raiding light PD, because not only are they coming in with themselves, who, granted, they are very squishy, right? But they're coming in with a Hitmonlee and 1d3 offensive TIE Rogues. And the offensive TIE Rogues actually fly, okay? So you come in with 5 of these, and it's 5 Hitmonlees and 5d3 offensive TIE Rogues. So anywhere from 5 to 15 offensive TIE Rogues. And that can take on most province defense with relatively low attrition, depending on what it is, as long as it's not like Giraffarigs or something like that. Because more often than not, especially if you have the black belts on, like, cast a blessing first and then attack rear, the Hitmonlees and TIE Rogues are gonna jump into the back first, and they'll take the majority of the hits. So your goes are fine. So this is absolutely a tactic that I should have been using earlier, and I am probably going to try to use more frequently going forward. Because I think it's a very cheap budget concept of being able to utilize that tactic. Anyways, we're putting together this goon squad in Omicria, and then we're going to try to start flying it around. Okay? We'll see how it goes. So that's the kind of Violet City scenario. Jumping over to Saffron City, we're actually moving out with Robodan and Ininu. We've just gotten another 5er. This is a 6er. You know what? I should probably swap that up. Let's swap that up real quick. Because the 6 is valuable. I mean, it's not like the 5's not valuable, but the 6 is inherently more valuable than the 5 is. So that guy out, and we'll actually have this guy hold and reset. Okay, so in Saffron City, this is actually the first turn that we're not immediately summoning a Steelix, and that's because we actually didn't have the money to do it this turn. This consistent bombardment, I don't really understand how this is happening. I'm kind of freaking out over it, right? I only had like 300 gold this turn, and I looked at the video from last turn because I was like, wait, I thought I was gonna have close to 1,000 income, and I did. I wanted to say I had around like 850-ish some odd income is what the projection was. And I only ended up with like 300 of the income. And I get, like, I'm losing some through, like, I'll lose a couple of provinces here or there. You know, like, Kratos was a big loss for me this turn. This place is worth a crap ton because of the gem deposits and gold mine, right? So that's a big deal. But I'm also just losing a shit ton every single turn to this fucking Raging Hearts, because the unrest applies first and then I get my income. So this says 574 income, right? And I was at like 40K. I've lost about 7,500 population, which is a huge fucking pain in the ass. But it's also the fact that this is not 574. This is like 100 every turn. It keeps getting brutalized every fucking turn. So I'm hoping that I'm gonna get lucky with the Dome of Arcane Shielding, but right now we're not in negative economy like we were at the beginning of this war, thank God. But we're definitely running into some issues, annoying issues. At this point in the game, I really expected and wanted to be at a point to where my economy was booming, and I think if I didn't have to deal with this shit consistently, then I think we would have been, right? I think the Ampharos factories, as we call them, right, would have been up and scaled and doing amazing, but we've had to spend so much time and energy and effort not doing that yeah, well, we're where we're at now. And I'm complaining. I'm sitting here belly aching, right? While we have pretty good income. Not as good as, the person who owns half the world, but pretty good income, So, anyways, so we're not actually recruiting anything at Saffron City, and since we're not recruiting anything at Saffron City, I'm okay if there was the scenario where we got attacked in Saffron City. So we're actually going to move out into Berman Highs. If we need to move back next turn, we'll move back next turn. No big deal. And there's really not a whole lot happening in the Saffron City area, except that we're kind of using Omicria as a repeated staging ground, okay? So we're bringing in a bunch of Black Belt Goes here. I've actually brought in a Battle Girl Pearl to start casting Voice of Apsu, because I've cast Voice of Apsu pretty much everywhere else. And this is actually something that I'm going to be doing with a couple of different things. I'm bringing Irma, who's one of my Air 2s in, because I've cast Auspex on pretty much all the land I can in this area. I'm casting it over here now with Ia, but now I'm going to bring Irma up here and start casting it up in this area. So we're kind of using Saffron City to push forward with our site searches, push forward with some of our other options, Black Belt Goes, etc. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. We're also trying to hit Kratos to take that back. Over in Viridian City, pretty much nothing going on. Again, I was pretty low on money. We're continuing to do the experience grinding that we're doing. And yes, I know this is part of the reason why my income is so freaking high, is because I continue to, or not my income, my upkeep. My upkeep wouldn't be nearly as high if I didn't have all this shit, right? If I didn't have all of this crap that I'm not using. I get that. I am trying to actively put some stuff together, and in the next couple turns, I don't want to say suiciding it, but we're going to go take some pretty unlikely fights and see how it goes. But yeah, that's what's happening in Viridian City, which is not much, in fairness, right? Over in Cyanwood, got a couple of different things going on. We are still recruiting Mareeps, because I do still want the factory to be online, right? We are moving up with castings of Gnome Lore again. We stopped doing that for a while we were trying to save Earth Gems, but since we're in a bit of a situation, we're basically just going to have to be like, fuck it, we're going to use our Earth Gems. And in Cyanwood City, we're doing a couple of different things. Finishing off this Machampion, crossing our fingers, getting what we can buy, etc. And then we're doing a whole bunch of other shit. Up here, we're making another Thistle Mace because we need some more nature access. We're actually burning a lot of our nature gems this turn, trying to open up our nature access between that Thistle Mace and Cameron the photographer is forging a Moonvine bracelet. So this is costing us a very few amount of pearls, which I'm okay with, and like 15 nature gems. But this allows someone else to be a little bit higher in nature, namely one of our Pokefan moms. By wielding a Thistle Mace and a Moonvine bracelet, she can be nature 3. And if I toss her, like on any given turn, if I toss her the Ring of Sorcery, suddenly she's nature 4. Right? So that's way more useful of a scenario. There's the potential that we get up to the point to where we create a Tree Lord staff, and then she could be nature 5, right? But right now, my nature income just doesn't. This is the same thing with my death income, right? It just doesn't warrant me really caring, which is why I'm trying to use the majority of it on boosters and site searching, right? Because site searching is going to get that income up potentially, and boosters are at least going to be useful for doing the few things that I want to do in the long run. If I do eventually get a good income on nature gems or death gems, then I can turn around and start doing other things. So, all right. You probably already noticed we're missing a whole lot of water gems. This is the turn. We are casting Articuno Quest with one of our Lutadoras, and we are actually casting a Lugia Quest with another Lutadora. So this is actually a really big deal. Also, I wanted to double check that. It's one of the other things that I wanted to start making sure that I'm doing is not having lightless lanterns, because we're probably eventually going to lose this Lutadora. I want to not have lightless lanterns on any of my more valuable units. I've been kind of dumb with that previously, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm not doing that. Probably take this off her, actually. There are some... Hey, there we go. So, yeah, we're going to try Articuno Quest. We're going to try Lugia Quest. We're going to see how that goes. Fingers crossed. If it goes well, awesome. If it doesn't, that's unfortunate. We have 10 water gems per turn. So we are kind of in this vein where right now we're casting Lugia. We're casting Articuno. We could cast Kyogre next turn, which we very well might do. And then once we get to 8... Suicune and Regice are actually not too expensive. And 8's going to take us a couple turns to get to, right? Take us 3 turns to get to that. So next turn we'll be able to cast Kyogre Quest anyways. And in 2 turns after that, we can probably won't be able to cast either one of these, but a turn after that, we should be able to. So I just want to see, and someone else might already have all of these, right? But I have a suspicion that Atlantis shouldn't be able to cast any of these. And I don't know that it's possible that Pewter is casting some of this stuff. It's possible that Celadon is casting some of this stuff, right? But I don't find it likely. So I am hopeful that that is not going to be the case. You know? I guess maybe Celadon or Pewter's the more likely scenario, because they can get, you know, maybe the Lugia's gone. I don't know. Anyways, so we're going to try that out. This is a massive sink in water gems. Holy shit, this is a massive sink in water gems. But this is the reason why I wanted to play this mod in the first place, right? Is I wanted to see all of these cool options and these unique things and amass Pokemon armies, etc. So this is definitely more interesting to me than some of the other shit that we've been doing. I am hopeful that this is going to turn out well for us. Fingers crossed. We've got some interesting scenarios going on with our gems right now. I am running into... We've got a decent income. Not crazy good, but it's decent. Check magic resources. So what is this? We've got 11, 30, 50... 72 gems per turn, which is pretty decent without having a major gem producer. We do have Stellar Focus, but it's just Stellar Focus. Having a 20, right, would be really good. So we are still trying to aim for the fire gems for Eternal Pyre. But we've got a couple of things that we want to make. We want to make a Staff of Elemental Mastery. Why do we want to make that? Well, for a couple of reasons, right? We want to try to get a Lutadora that can use it in the effort to put up future Fist explorations. So that's one option, right? We want it so that we can pair it with like a Ring of Wizardry to use on Rex to turn him into an Air 4 so that he can create an Air Helmet, and then would be Air 5, so then he could do a Bag of Winds, and then he would be Air 6, and then we could try to do Galegate. So, right? We've got all of these, like, if-thens, etc., etc., etc. So, we're trying to get up to a couple of these different things. The gems are going to be tight over the course of the next 10 to 15 turns. So making an expenditure like this with the water gems is probably not the best move that I could be making. But again, it goes back to that scenario. Why do I even care about putting up Eternal Pyre? Why do I even care about potentially putting up Galegate, right? The only reason I care is because I want those gems so that I can do more Pokemon-based shit. Right? I would love to be able to come in here and do Moltres quest and do Inte quest and Latias quest, right? I would love to be able to do Zapdos and Rayquaza and Raikou, right? That would be super fucking cool. And I'm already going to Galegate. Oh, you only need Air 5 for Galegate. That's even fucking better. I'm absolutely going for... Well, wait. Yeah, Galegate. That's absolutely even better. Even better. We can totally make it to Galegate. Anyways, that's the current plan. We're heading towards that situation. Hopefully, that will all work out. I do not know that it's going to, but we've got a bunch of things that we're trying to accomplish at the moment. We're also building a little bit of gear. Again, just trying to throw together something to outfit Steelix champions with. And yeah. That's about it. I'm trying to think of if there's anything big happening. I don't think so. Our research is where it is. Or graph-wise, let's take a quick look. We ducked down a little bit this turn. Absolutely dipped a bunch because of income. Our gem income has flatlined for a little while. Our research is continuing to skyrocket kind of above everyone else. Our Dominion is whatever. Our army size is still 3. We do actually, I will note this out. We're spreading out our spy network now. We're actually heading. So we've got Cinnabar. We've got eyes on Cinnabar. We got eyes on Goldenrod. Yep. So Cinnabar. There's Cinnabar. There's Goldenrod. And we've actually got eyes on, or we don't have eyes on it, but we will next turn on Pewter City. And I think we're actually going to start moving some of our fly spies, because they're decently stealthy, onto these locations. And I'm just going to say, considering the size of Pewter City, he basically, like, he goes from north to south. Like, he is a band from north to south across the entire world. I think I'm going to start instilling uprisings in at least all of his capital cities, if not every fucking fort I can find. And I don't know that that is a good idea. That's probably a terrible idea. Does he have... Check. He's got assassins with Pewter City hikers. That's interesting. And they're super stealthy. They're really bad assassins, though. Holy shit. No. Okay, so Pewter City does not have spies. So that's interesting. I won't have to worry about that necessarily. But he does have some pretty interesting stuff. So... I talked about this ages and ages and ages ago, having the squadron of fly spies, basically, right? The Battle Girl Rubies that are just ready to fly into, before I war with someone, ready to fly into their territory and then just instill uprisings like fucking crazy everywhere, right? I think I'm okay with doing that. I don't really care at this point. So we're probably gonna go ahead and do that and see how it goes. Alright, I think that's probably it for the turn. Mostly a bunch of movement this turn, a bunch of posturing, getting ready for some of the future endeavors that we're gonna go through, but taking a risk on this Articuno quest and this Lugia quest. And if they go well, right, if we get an Articuno and a Lugia, right, that might be something that we pair up with Chuck to head out and have this really cool big stack army, because we're getting close. We've got 56 black belts here, and only three so far, shield black belts. So we're getting close. We've got a number of these guys are gonna level next turn. These guys are super close. They're going to be another turn behind, right? But we've got pretty sizable forces growing here. And I realized looking at it, Chuck can lead 320 living units. It's so fucking many. So I'm going to put together this semi-monstrous army. I'm probably not going to wait for 320 units. That's dumb. Waste of time. But in probably another turn or two, I'm probably going to set out with a large force of black belts alongside probably a decent unit of maybe Espeons. Definitely Jolteons, right? We got some more Jolteons in here. But I'm probably going to leave the Vaporeons and the other ones because I don't have enough of them yet. But the Jolteons and the Espeons are definitely an option. There's also the pretty decent sized retinue of Glaceons, which are unusable unless, and this is something I don't know, I could probably look it up. I absolutely could look it up if I just checked the mod inspector with the mod on, right? It's possible that Articuno or Lugia have some sort of like, maybe they have like Warriors of Muspelheim or something like that, right? Or no, not Muspelheim. They what's the other one? What's the water one? It's basically Frostfend, right? I was just thinking of the weird version. Warriors of Niflheim. That's the one I was thinking. That's the wrong one, anyways. It's the fire one. It is Warriors of Muspelheim. Ha! But that would be a dumb thing for Articuno or Lugia to have. Watch them have it. No, I was thinking more along the lines of like Frostfend, basically. If one of them were to have something like Frostfend, then suddenly I could actually utilize these Glaceons. And I'm not super worried about it because I don't have that many of them anymore. But it's just something to like, it's something to consider. Actually, why are you moving? I think that was an accident. You're supposed to be going to school. Actually, you're supposed to be going to school with all of these spares. So these are basically individuals that are already leveled, right? But we can still get more experience on. So we've got to the point to where we have like a +5 experience bonus on some units. Do we have any? Didn't we have? Yeah. So this guy is this guy's only a +4, but we've got some +5s, which is kind of crazy. So I mean, there's no reason not to continue training. It's not like their upkeep goes up. So all right, that is it for the turn. I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.